it turns out, was a country that could not tax itself. Picture France in the middle of the 18th century. On the surface, it's the most powerful nation in Europe, the largest population, the grandest palace ever built, a culture so dominant that kings and aristocrats across the continent spoke French to prove they were civilized. If you had stood in the gardens of Versailles in 1750, the idea that this kingdom would tear itself apart within a generation would have seemed absurd. Something was already broken, and it wasn't the people, it was the math. France, it turns out, was a country that could not tax itself. That sounds impossible for the richest kingdom in Europe, but follow the logic, because this is where the real story starts. French society was legally divided into three groups, called estates. The first was the clergy, the second was the nobility, and the third was everyone else, which is to say, about 97% of the entire population. Peasants, workers, merchants, lawyers, the whole engine of the country. Now here's the part that should stop you cold. The two estates that held nearly all the wealth and land, the clergy and the nobility, were largely exempt from the kingdom's main taxes. The people who could most afford to pay, paid the least. And the people who could least afford it carried almost the entire weight of the state on their backs. This is the trap that would eventually break the monarchy. To fix the debt, France needed to raise more revenue. To raise revenue, it needed to tax the people who actually had money. But those were exactly the people with the power to refuse. Every time a royal minister proposed reform, a fairer tax, a modest contribution from the privileged orders, the same wall rose up to block it. The nobility resisted. The courts, which were themselves controlled by aristocrats, struck the reforms down. Think about what that means. The King of France, the man Europe imagined as an all-powerful ruler, could not make his richest subjects pay their share. The system